Hey guys, don't worry because Officer Tatum is going to tell Candace Owens how she's being a very bad friend to Charlie Kirk, which is interesting. Predictable, I would say, if you have been paying attention to which way the wind seems to be blowing in that area of town. But we're going to take a look at that. And also, Megyn Kelly said some very interesting things that are lighting up the internet about the situation with the current sitting you-know-what and the guy who lived in Palm Beach. I'm trying very desperately not to say either of their names. But there's a bunch of emails and stuff. You guys may have heard about that. And she had some things that she shared, some ideas that she shared about the specific tastes of the guy who supposedly died in that cell, right? Am I being sufficiently cagey here to beat the filters, hopefully? But yeah, so she had some thoughts about the difference between someone who's, 15 versus someone who's like 10. And I was watching it kind of like, are you sure this is a hill you want to die on, Megyn Kelly? I understand the point she's making. She's not wrong, but it's like, I don't know, dude. You kind of sound like you're defending him when you're talking about the difference between, destroying a little flower that is, brand new out of the ground versus a flower that's been around for like a little bit longer. In either way, you stomp the flower into the dirt, right? You know what I'm saying? I actually heard one of the real flowers refer to her life exactly that way in reference to that person. Okay. So we're going to get to that in a second. But first, we are going to look at Mr. Officer Tatum. And by the way, if you guys did not know, Officer Tatum and Candace Owens are actually co-founders of a nonprofit together. You guys may not have known that, but they actually co-founded the Blexit movement. Also, what we're going to talk about is some unbelievable seeming corruption at TPUSA. Okay. Because a guy did a forensic accounting, and I'm just getting started on this thing, but it's crazy. What these guys found is like, Jesus, that was legal. Have you guys seen what Charlie Kirk's house looked like, by the way? Yeah, that's his house right there. Okay. How crazy is that? Look at that thing, dude. Look at that. So, we're going to take a look at how he most likely was paying for that enormous mansion that he was living in because, wow. He was apparently getting a fair amount of money out of that TPUSA thing. But we're going to look at who else was getting money out of there and then start speculating about how other people might have been getting money out of there, given the fact that he called for an audit and all of a sudden it's like, we got to turn his lights out. Someone needs to turn his lights out, right? But anyway, so let's go over here and let's get with Officer Tatum first, and let's see what he had to say about Candace Owens, and then we're going to get into the other stuff. I had this idea that I was going to zoom in on my face super big and then turn up the volume around me, go, why haven't you subscribed yet? And why haven't you liked this video? But I think that would have been weird, so I just decided to put this in there instead. So, once you like the video and subscribe to the channel, you can go check out Valhalla VFT's merch on his channel.
Can we put this to rest, ladies and gentlemen? Can we put it to rest? Erica Kirk said that she believed they have a great team in Kesh Patel and the FBI. She believed that Tyler Robinson killed her husband. And at his memorial service, she said she forgive him. Can you shut the front door about all these conspiracies around Charlie Kirk's death? She said it out of her own mouth. If you don't know anything about investigations, the FBI will disclose their findings to the spouse, to the next of kin. She knows what evidence they have and what they don't have. Can you shut up until the trial? Let me say this again else. If you want to evaluate who is being reasonable in this, who's not being reasonable, who's acting in good faith and who's not acting in good faith. If you fix your mouth to say that you cared about Charlie Kirk at all, I don't care if you claim you were his best friend or you claim that you liked him from watching him on social media, you went to a debate or whatever. If you make the claim that you actually care about Charlie Kirk, there's a truth and a lie to it. You either care or you really don't. If you say you care, this is how you know somebody really don't care. Why would you hurt people he loved? Do you not think that Charlie loved Mikey? McCoy?
He might have, but like, I think the people who are asking questions about Mikey McCoy think that maybe Mikey McCoy did something dastardly. And if you look at Mikey McCoy's interview where he's like, and then I had to call Erica. I'm like, this is either a person who's talking about a person who's still alive, or this is a person who is pretending to be sad. And actually, they're in both cases, it looks to be a person pretending to be sad. So, and they also behave very bizarrely at the time. I mean, like, there was a camera on them. People are asking questions.
His what they call deputy director or whatever you call him, chief of staff, his right-hand man. He went everywhere with Mikey. I never saw Charlie without Mikey for like the last 6 years. If Charlie was alive, do you think he'll be okay with somebody getting Mikey death threats? What world are we living?
I hope nobody's giving death threats to anybody, just for the record, right? And you guys know my investigation is not even pointed at any of those guys. I've been looking at Lance, okay? I've been looking at Lance Twiggs, who was erased out of the People Finder and who also seems to have been very proficient with weapons and who also stabbed his own, well, I don't know about stabbed, attacked his own grandma with a knife and got kicked out of the family. And also was scribbling things all over the place all the time. Similar to, it sounds like someone scribbled some things onto the bullets, you know? And also someone who maybe Tyler Robinson would take the rap for or have conspired with. But certainly not a person who would have not known anything about a forthcoming assassination on one of the most visible people in the world if it was his living boyfriend who was going to do it. So, not to mention Sky Valdez, who said Charlie Kirk would be dead at 31 and also said that, I'm sure was one of the people who posted on the internet that September 10th stuff was going to happen, but definitely posted a drawing of a prone shooter on a roof and posted it on the internet that same day that they posted Charlie Kirk dead at 31. Coincidence, I'm sure.
Living in, bruh. You think that Charlie Kirk would want you to be bashing Turning Point USA? To be criticizing Turning Point USA to the point in which they become illegitimate? Do you think Charlie Kirk, if he was still alive, would be okay with somebody saying they're going to destroy Turning Point USA?
I've been saying this from the beginning. I'm aligned with him on this, actually.
Or they're effing Turning Point USA. You think Charlie would be okay with that? If you claim you love Charlie, you would not hurt the people he loved. You would not hurt them. And if you claim to love Charlie, your loyalty will be in the area that he was loyal to.
He's not wrong, but I'm certainly not going to question Candace's loyalty, and I guarantee she knows a hell of a lot more about the case than I do. You know, there has to be a reason that she is looking in the direction that she is, bottom line. But, listen, dude, I think people looking for a way to make Candace do what they want her to, probably a fool's errand. Not likely to have a lot of success there would be what I would say. Now, I wanted to show you guys, actually, you know what? I should probably save the Megyn Kelly thing for later. And the reason is I'm going to have to do a lot of work to edit that, or you know what I mean? But what I do want to show you is the TPUSA stuff. All right. So, hey, would you want, do you want to go after TP? It's like, no, I don't, but I'm also not going to know what I know here from this forensic account, or, and not put it on my channel. Right. So let me show you some of the stuff that is in this story. This is a forensic accountant who's talking about what he found inside of the TPUSA IRS documents that anyone could have downloaded, but he's a forensic accountant.
That's all we hear about.
Yep.
But as you start digging into the IRS files, you find out there's 3 more nonprofits. There's Turning Point Action, there's America's Turning Point, and then there's Turning Point Endowment. So whenever you hear endowment, that's like managing the investments. So they'll take cash, they'll buy stocks, they'll buy securities, and it'll just sit in this endowment fund. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure why Turning Point needs 4 of these. And then what caught my eyes, I hope when I go and look at this, I don't see Charlie Kirk giving himself a salary in all four, because to me, he should be getting a salary in TPUSA, and in the other three, it should be zero because he's not logging any work hours. Turning Point Endowment, like I said, literally by their own words, manage the endowment. Charlie Kirk's not a financial advisor, last I checked. And what he ended up doing was, it seems like he wanted 1.6 million a year. So he divided it by 4, and then each of the nonprofits he gets
like 400,000 or something.
Right. That and then same with Tyler Boyer. He would get maybe 300 on all 4. So that really caught my attention. I was like, wow, this seems like a real shady way to make their salaries appear less egregious. Let me give you an example, Didi.
So check this out. Right here, it says its source of revenue is the main TPUSA nonprofit. So in 2023, TPUSA donated $8.6 million to America's Turning Point. Right? So then, like, it's a sneaky way to be all, here you go. Like, look, dude, we are donating this money. Now, in reality, though, guys, like, if they really wanted to be like shady and hide this stuff, they wouldn't name it TPUSA this or Turning Point that. This is just kind of like, you know, they know that people aren't going to get super deep into their finances. So they look at TPUSA's finances. They see that Charlie, I mean, this is the whole point. Charlie's getting $400,000 from TPUSA. They're not going to look into all of the different, you know, finances for all these different nonprofits. So it's really about optics more than anything. But that's not all that they were doing, as you're going to find out in a second, because they were doing some dirt here with Donald Trump Jr. I don't even know if you would even call it dirt. It's more of a thing where actually, let me show you what they were doing, and then I'll kind of explain what was really going on and like what they were doing. Because like, it's not illegal what they were doing, but it was very clearly a way to squeeze money out of a situation that is supposed to be a nonprofit. I'll show you in a second.
If on TPUSA, Charlie Kirk's salary was 1.6 million, that would catch attention. Remember, because they were, quote, audited, an auditor would catch that. But if it's 400,000, that's a little more reasonable.
But why would people care if you split that up into 4, but it still shows up? Even if it don't show up as one big lump sum, you're still paying the same amount of taxes, correct?
No, they care, I'm saying, optically, because no one's going to look at these other 3 nonprofits.
Okay.
So you get what I'm saying? If you're going to look at just Turning Point, because no one even knows these other 3 nonprofits exist. So this hides, like I said, optically, it makes it feel like, oh, Charlie's salary isn't that outrageous. It's 400,000. You know, that to me is the only reason why I could think of, because why would he need 4 salaries from 3 companies that he doesn't do anything for?
Right. And is there any, because I know some people may think about this, and I thought about this too. Is there not any legal loopholes that you're aware of where they're allowed to do this? Maybe it's suspicious, but it's not illegal.
Yeah, I would say it's probably not illegal, because you have to remember who writes the laws. These guys. The whole nonprofit system was developed by rich people for this reason, to circumvent taxes, to be able to sell stock without paying capital gains through their nonprofit, you know, move dark money, money laundering. So yeah, if we're basing this on legality, in this example, I don't think Charlie Kirk broke any law, you know, but very dishonest, because he's putting in 40 hours a week and he's working 120 hours a week. He has a radio show every day. Where are the hours in the day? He allegedly has 2 kids and a wife. Where, you know, you start to look at it and you go, where are the hours to do all of this?
Right.
And
now,
fair question.
Yeah, it is a fair question. And I want to say, would you say that from because this audit is from what years? As early as 2018?
A little bit of 2017, but yeah, I would say the real meat of it is like 2018 to 2023.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I remember now. I know what it means, but for those that may not understand what it means, explain to, in layman terms, Brian, what is it that you mean when you say dark money?
So dark money, the way I think of it and the way I think most people is, it's a way to hide money. So for example, if I'm a donor, maybe I don't want people knowing I gave Turning Point $10 million. So through this nonprofit system, there's ways to circumvent these sort of laws that were put in place where you did need to be transparent about your donations. And one way that can be done, and we may get into that in a little bit, is the fundraising. Charlie Kirk and Turning Point used their own insiders to create LLC to manage these fundraiser payments. And now if I'm some rich
So this is pretty shady. Watch this.
Some rich donor, I don't want anyone to know, I can give that LLC the 10 million and it's never going to come up. It's just going to show, you know, the gross total. It's not going to be a line item where we can see who gave that 10 million. So that's dark money. Dark money is just a way to hide my donation.
Got it.
Yeah. I think another really interesting thing that jumped out to me was the relationship between Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump Jr., and a guy named Sergio Gore, who's high up in the Trump administration. So to me, again, technically, maybe this is illegal, maybe it's not. But this is pretty insane. If you're someone who's donated to Turning Point, and now you see where your money just went. Trump Jr. started a publishing arm called Winning Team Publishing, and just in 2022 alone, Turning Point gave almost 500,000 to them. For what reason? They're a publisher, right? They publish books. Oddly enough, Charlie Kirk's book was published by them. So this is the reverse of what happens, right? A publisher usually pays you in advance when you write a book, but instead Charlie Kirk is paying them, and it just keeps going. Then the next year he gives another 164,000, 333,000. And these are monster numbers. 640,000, like almost $1 million goes to Sergio Gore and Donald Trump Jr. And the reason why, and I'm only speculating, but I heard this from people at events, Trump Jr. couldn't sell his book. So what I'm guessing happened is Turning Point with the donated bought the book and they were giving it away at events. And then he gets to get on the Amazon, top chart or whatever for book sales when they're really not real book sales. It's not like you and I went on Amazon and bought Trump Jr.'s book. Turning Point buys it. Turning Point gives it away. And it's also a quid pro quo. How does Charlie Kirk get such access to the White House? Well, if I give Donald Trump's son 500,000 through my nonprofit and Sergio Gore, I have access. When I need Trump, I can get Trump. If you remember when they went to Greenland, who went to Greenland? Sergio Gore, Donald Trump Jr., and Charlie Kirk. That's kind of interesting,
Boom. And that's how it all works, guys. Okay? That is how all of this works at the top of the government and the top of the, political action committees. These people who donate all this money and all that. That's how all of this works. Okay? It's a big corruption machine. And they've written the law in a way where it's not even illegal. Not even illegal. What they just laid out is not even illegal. And again, I'm just going to be totally honest with you guys. I recognize this stuff so easily because I'm like, that's what I would do. I would see all the angles instantly. It's like, wait, we got $100 million coming through this as a nonprofit. We got to spend this money. It's like, all right, well, geez, I wonder if I can come up with some ways that all of my friends can benefit from this. Hey, Donald, you wrote a book, dog? You wrote a book. Let me see if I can figure out a way that we could buy, enough to get you on the bestseller list. And then we'll just hand them out for free, And then in turn, you give me access to Donald Trump, and then I get much more money because I can tell my donors I have access to Donald Trump. And look at that. It's a perfect circle of corruption, except it's legal because that's the way the laws are written. You know what I mean? It's I'm just kidding. Listen, if you're looking for someone to be appalled by this, you got the wrong guy. Okay. You got the wrong dude. I just understand how the world works, and you are looking at it right here. And it is absolutely stone corrupt. Okay? Stone corruption. People operate within the world that they have. I am actually going to I'm going to shut this down right there, guys. I got nothing else to say except that I love all of you guys. I appreciate this ongoing support, and that if you disagree with my takes, that's fine. You know what I mean? I got no issues with anybody disagreeing with me. Just be nice. You know what I mean? I do nothing to be I don't know. Oh my God, my phone died. No. That's a catastrophe. I feel like I want to do a live stream. I'm going to do that right now.